Hey guys, my name's Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Lenovo Ideapad 120s. The exact model used here is a 14iap, but this should help with any of the 14 series models. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you all the major components you can access after entering the computer. So first thing guys, power down the computer, make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip your computer over to access your bottom case screws. Now, as you see here, you have 4 screws along the bottom edge, 3 screws in the middle, and 3 screws along the top. After removing those screws, you're going to take a small, flat, preferably plastic pry tool. I say that because plastic will scratch up your computer far less than a metal pry tool will. But take your pry tool and go across the seam all the way around and gently but firmly pry off your bottom case from the rest of your computer. Now, as you're doing this, be careful not to put the pry tool too far in. You could damage some internal components. Make sure to keep it on the outside edge. And if you get hung up in one spot and it doesn't seem to separate, then leave that alone, go to the other side, and continue in the other direction. After you get your bottom case off, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a side note, guys, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, I have it sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet go a long way to help you avoid damaging things in your computer. If you guys need any help with tools or supplies for your project, there'll be a link above, also below in the description, with all the tools and supplies that I would use in my shop for this computer, as well as all the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model. Now, before I touch anything in a computer, I always either remove or at least unplug the battery to make it safer to work on. This battery, if you choose to remove it, is held down by 5 screws as noted here by the arrows. After removing those screws, you would unplug it from the motherboard here. As with any cables in a computer, it's best to avoid pulling on the wires when possible and instead just manipulate the plug itself. However, in this computer, this plug is very thin. I wasn't able to get my fingernails or a pry tool in there, and I was afraid that if I used a pair of pliers, I would actually slip and clamp down on those wires. So in this case, I had to grip the wires as close to the plug as I could get and wiggle that out, unfortunately having to put pressure on those wires. So just be careful when you're unplugging it. Also, to get the battery out, if that's the way you're choosing to go, this ribbon cable as well as this ribbon cable is over the battery. So this one is actually stuck down by double-sided tape. You need to gently pry that off. And when you're operating clips like this, guys, be very careful. That black clip there is very breakable, and if you break it, you may never be able to find a replacement, which means the ribbon cable may never clamp down securely again. So the way to operate this is take a very flat pry tool, slide it underneath from this direction from the bottom very carefully, under the black clip, and then pop it open. It opens like a book cover. You can see the hinges on top. You pop this open, the ribbon cable will release. This ribbon cable here plugs in on this side, and the black clip is on the opposite side. It's on the left-hand side. So you would slide your pry tool under from the left and pop that one open to get that ribbon cable off. Okay, so now that the battery has been removed or at least unplugged, we can proceed deeper into the computer. The first thing I'll shout out here is your solid state drive. It's on the right-hand side of my screen right here. This is an M.2 port right here. It's held down by a single screw on the bottom. Once you remove that screw, you can slide this out from this port right there. Now this solid state drive, I think most of you will have a 128 gigabyte, so it's kind of small. In the link I told you about before with the replacement and upgrade parts and the tools, I'll have that link below in the description, and I'll try to include a 128, but also a 500 gigabyte and maybe even a terabyte option if you guys were looking to upgrade. As you notice, there's no RAM here. There's no external RAM slot. The RAM you have, the memory, is integrated into the motherboard. So unfortunately, as far as the RAM, you can't replace it or upgrade it the same way you can with the storage, the solid state drive. Your best bet for upgrading memory is to go with an external plug-in USB option. The next thing I'll shout out here are your speakers. You got this one on the left side of my screen, this one on the right. Unlike most speakers, they don't daisy chain by a cable down here under your touchpad. They plug into the motherboard themselves. So this one plugs into the motherboard right here. This one plugs into the motherboard right over here. So again, with wires, try not to pull on the wires, and these plugs are nice. They have grips on either side. You can use your fingernails or a pry tool to pull those out. Again, I will try to have some speaker replacement options included in that list in the link below. The next thing I'll shout out here is your Wi-Fi card and your CMOS battery. The CMOS battery is held on by double-sided tape, and it plugs in very similar to the speakers, a similar looking port. You can grab either side of it. If you're here to replace the CMOS battery, you can just pop that off easily and unplug it. If you're here to BIOS reset, you don't need to physically remove the battery, of course. You just need to unplug it for 15-20 seconds, and that should be sufficient to reset your BIOS system. The Wi-Fi card plugs in kind of similar to the solid-state drive. It's got a single screw on the back end that holds it down. Once you undo that screw, you can pull the Wi-Fi card out, and these antenna wire running down through your right side hinge assembly, those are just snaps. So that just snaps right off if you're looking to replace the Wi-Fi card. And again, I'll have a couple options for replacements in that link below. The next area that I'll shout out is your motherboard area here. Keep in mind, if you're looking to gain access to your CPU, if you're looking to take off this heatsink, there's a warranty void sticker there. So on any computer, when you see these stickers, if they think you've gone past that point, if the sticker's damaged, it could void part or all of your warranty. So keep that in mind in your computer repair projects. But you have that screw, this one on the right, this one on the bottom, this one on the left, and these three in the middle of the heatsink to remove this heatsink. Also, if you're looking at getting your motherboard out, you do need to take off everything. We've already addressed these two items. This is your battery and your keyboard ribbon cable. We've already addressed those. This right here is your touchpad ribbon cable. It's smaller, but it's the same idea as your keyboard ribbon cable. Just pop that black clip up. Solid state drive and speakers, we've addressed that. This is your LCD cable right there. That comes through the left-hand hinge assembly on your computer. And there's a black pull tab. You just grab that, pull straight up, and that will unhook your LCD cable. And that's how you would access your motherboard. If you're looking to access the LCD assembly, after gaining entrance, you would unscrew this hinge assembly there, the 3 screws, and the hinge assembly there, the 3 screws. Keep in mind, though, that, again, your antenna wire here and your LCD cables run through that. So if you're looking to unhook the LCD, you definitely want to unhook your antenna and your LCD cable. But that's a quick overview of a majority of the components that you have in this computer. So that's the video, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, check out the FAQs below in the description. It could save you some time getting an answer. If you do need to leave me a question or comment, please do. I do try to get to those a couple times a day at least. To support the channel, please remember to like and share. Subscribe if you enjoy this type of DIY tutorials. And for those of you that want to support the channel a little further, you can always leave a small donation, and there's a couple ways to do that. First, right below the video to the right-hand side, you'll see the Super Thanks button. You can click on that. You can select a tip amount here. Second way, you can use your Cash App. Find me at $PC Helper. You can leave a dollar amount, and you can even leave a little note. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video.